Hey guys, it's Leanne Winston Psychic Medium, and it looks like people are already coming in line. That's great to see people joining in already. I didn't give much notice for this show as it was a last decision this morning, and if you do miss it on the live replay, you are very welcome to go back and watch this in the recording sort of side of it at any time. And I will actually share this show tonight to my YouTube channel as well. But I would really like to talk about mental health today. Now, I really would appreciate it. Hey, Jordan and Melissa, everybody that's coming on live, it's great to see you all joining in. But I would really appreciate if people could respect my wishes tonight in not asking psychic questions, as in about loved ones or any messages or anything for them, as I really would like to dedicate this to mental health and anxiety, depression, and everything else that goes along with it as well. So if you know somebody that does suffer with anxiety or depression, please feel free to share this video with them. If you think this may help them, please tag them to help them hear the messages that I would like to share. Now, before I actually get into it, I do need to stress that I am not trained in any way around mental health or health in general, medical side of stuff. I am doing or have started a counselor's course, but the information that I give comes through from guidance from spirit. So I would like to really stress that I am not trained in medical health at all. I highly recommend anybody that is experiencing mental health issues to seek go and see a doctor, seek help where you need to, whether it's around connecting with the Beyond Blue or Lifeline or something like that, or even speaking to a loved one, a friend, or somebody that you can trust with that side of it. So guys, please keep that in mind, that I do not have the training or the qualifications to give advice, and what does come through from spirit. So I just put my trust in that, and it just seems that a lot of us are suffering at the moment with anxiety, with depression, and fair enough, people have had it for a while, but it really does seem to be heightened at the moment. Off the top of my head, sorry, I can think of at least 4 people that I'm close to that are really struggling at the moment with that, with the anxiety, the depression, mental health issues and stuff like that. So one of my beautiful clients, actually I had a couple of my clients reach out to me today asking questions around their mental health and spirit and stuff like that. And one of my beautiful clients actually suggested maybe I do a show or one of my live shows on mental health one week and talk about that. And I thought it's perfect day to do it today with it. Now, in saying that, we've got this beautiful, rich, strong moon that's out tonight. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, please go outside and take a moment and just breathe and feel the energy of the moon, because it is absolutely incredible. I know we've got an eclipse in the morning. It's the blood moon, and it's pretty powerful at the moment as well. So I just want to, and I'll go more into the moon in a moment with that side of it, but I want to touch on mental health in a different way than what practitioners, doctors, counselors, and all that do, as from that side of it. I want to talk about mental health from the spiritual side, intuition, because we all have our intuition, whether we want to admit it or not. Now, something that I find, Jess just says the moon is beautiful. And guys, please don't think I'm ignoring your comments. I just sort of want to stay focused for a little while, and I will look at it. Please feel free to share your story with it. Sometimes acknowledgement helps to release stuff as well. So please, in knowing that you're in a safe place, and I want to say I would sincerely hope that everybody respects other people's comments and there is no judgment of any sort. I want to see people pull together and people bring that love in and that support that I normally find on my page anyway, in the everyday sort of comments that go up there, and I really do appreciate that. Hey, Simon. Hey, Kelly. Okay. All right. So I want to touch on intuition to start with. Okay. Now, I will tell you a little bit about my story. I have had the ups and the downs as well, and a lot of you know how my intuition has come around, and my journey in that side of it. I've been through the low points. I've had panic attacks and other things that go with it through circumstances that I was in at those times. I deal with chronic pain day in, day out. Now, a lot of people looking at me or that know me would not realize that. Okay. When I channel spirit, I can step out of that energy a little bit, which seems to help while I'm in that mode. The moment I step out of working with spirit, it's like I come back into my own body and I take on that pain. Now, anybody that has suffered with pain or long-term pain will know that it gets you down. It's exhausting, okay? It's hard to keep that positive mind when you're constantly in pain or there's sadness or the negativity there with that side of it. So I went through, I reckon it was a good period of good 2 years where I had panic attacks after a work injury. I had the pressure of work cover. I had the pressure of doctors. I had work pushing me trying to get back to work when I wasn't capable of it. And so all that stress added up, and it started to create the panic attacks, the fear to go out, the fear to be around too many people, and different things like that. And those that do suffer with anxiety, depression, or mental illness of some sort will probably know exactly how that feels. Okay. Now, through the help of a pain management course, and becoming aware of my breathing and different things, I was able to get on top of it. I was able to work out the first signs of my panic attack and manage it in that way. Okay. Now, I'm no expert, and I can only go by what comes from spirit and what I have experienced in myself with that side of stuff. Okay. So like I said before, for those that are just joining, and it's lovely to see people coming in, I'm not trained in the medical field at all, and I can't stress that enough. I have started a counsellor's course, but things have been a bit hectic lately that I haven't got too far with that yet, but I do plan on finishing that because I think a lot of my work borderlines on that side of stuff as well. So guys, just before I jump in, Kim, you have fibromyalgia too, honey. I will take the time to read these comments over the weekend as well. And I usually, when I've read your comment, I will put like on it so you know, and I know I've read it as well with that. Honey, I suffer with fibromyalgia as well. And it can be quite debilitating at times as well. For myself, I could have days where I can't get out of bed, but it's finding the balance. Okay, guys, please keep hitting the share button and invite family and friends to join in. And if you know somebody that suffers with a mental illness, please tag them in the comments, okay? And if they're not a follower of my page, put the @comment in front of their name, and that will help to link them to your comment at the same time. So I want to go back, spirit draws me in different directions at different times. I want to go back to talking about intuition and how that became a part of my journey as well, with dealing with panic attacks and that side of stuff, the anxiety that comes with it. Don't get me wrong, there's still times that I get a little bit of anxiety, and most of the people that know me will know that I'm usually quite an easygoing, calm sort of person. All right, so it gets the best of us. We're all human. There's no right or wrong or anything really that stands out that, we'll pick one person not somebody else, because nobody is perfect. All right. We all have our strengths. we all have our weaknesses with that side of them. I am glancing at your comments, guys, as they're coming through, but I'm trying not to focus too much on those at the moment. Remember, I said share your journey, how it experiences you. You may have something that helped you as well, or you could recommend a program or something that may help others that you'd like to share information about. Please feel free and feel safe to do that in this space as well. Okay. Now, people that are quite intuitive, we all have our intuition. Some choose to acknowledge it, some choose to block it. When we block it, spirit will get your attention no matter how, whether it's through signs they put around you, like the feathers, the coins, the butterflies, the dragonflies, those sort of things, or they take on the physical form. Now, what I quite often find in my work is the fact that a lot of people that are intuitive, and I can sense when the intuition is there, because their guides will step in at the beginning of the reading and show me that that is my sign for the intuition sort of side of with my client. When that is there and you're not taking note, you are blocking it. Men are very good at putting up, and now I don't want to single out men in general, but men are very good at blocking spirit, because women are more open-minded. We are more, I don't know what the word is I want to use, but we are more easygoing in that sense, and we don't question things to the extent that men do. Okay, men need to break things down. Men need to see the scientifical side of it. And I guess that's what I'm looking for. Men are more scientifically minded than what us women are. Women are more open. We have a lot more things going on our mind, and we don't have the time, and I know I don't have the energy to overthink things. Okay. So women will start to notice and be more open-minded to intuition by what I have experienced than what men are. Don't get me wrong, there are some men out there that are very open to this side of things, and they quite often will find when you explain how spirit works that they are intuitive as well. Okay. Hey, Shelley. Hi, Tanya. Hi, guys. For those joining in, please hit the share button. Please invite family and friends to join in as well. And please, hi, Kylie. Please feel free to comment and share your stories as well as we go along. And just for those that aren't joining in, please keep in mind that I am not trained as in the medical field at all. So I'm only giving you the information that spirit shares with me and what I can share from my own experiences. Okay. I've kind of been on both sides of it. I've had the anxiety attacks, I've had the panic attacks, but I also have been a support system, or part of a support system, for a family member that was and at times is suicidal. I am a parent with a child that suffers with anxiety for one reason or another. And that's another subject in itself. And I will touch on that in a moment, about children and anxiety at the same time. Tara says you do access bars. She's a practitioner in Salisbury. Sorry, honey, access bars, I can highly recommend it. I have done some training in that as well. I don't necessarily always use it, but it is a way of moving programs within ourselves as well. So, Tara Ramsey, honey, I'm sure you don't mind me mentioning your name. You can look up, she's got her Facebook page there in the comments. There are some beautiful people here in the hills. Mandy Ferguson is one. Robin Campbell is another here in the Adelaide Hills that I have done mind training in under as well. I know there's people up in Murray Bridge, Pauline at Natural Stepping Stones, Carmen that works out of there has been trained at the same time. You could probably Google a list of different people in your area, but that is one way of doing it as well. So going back to intuition with depression and anxiety, if you are experiencing things that you don't understand, it's easier to close down and try to acknowledge it. I call it sticking your head in the sand, and men are very good at that. Okay. And sometimes that comes through our conditioning, the way we are brought up with expectations to be a certain way. Now, I want to say these days, from when I was a child, let's go 20, okay, I've got to be honest, a good 30 years ago, is very different to what kids are experiencing now. Okay. Life was more simpler, life was easier back then. I did find it hard being intuitive as a child because I didn't have anybody to explain intuition to me and what I was feeling and thinking, sensing, and the whole thing. All right. So that could have added to my stress, my anxiety at the same time with that. Okay. So when we block stuff down, spirit's going to bring it through in any way they can. If they can't get your attention with the signs, they are going to get your attention with your physical side of the body. I'm a big believer, and people that have had readings with me, and I've spoken about energy, and even students that have gone through workshops where we have worked with energy will know, and I've said this hundreds and hundreds of times, when something sits in our energy field and we can't acknowledge it and let it go, it will become the physical. It results in the health issues. Now, that can be the mental health, obviously. It can be cancers. It can be all sorts of things. I want to say, look at quite often women that have issues around the pelvis area, the hip, the reproductive area are quite often mothering issues. Different things that sit in our energy field react to our body in different ways. Now, I'm no expert on how our body holds energy and what points mean what. I haven't done a lot of study on that side of it. And that's certainly something that you could probably quite easily find out through Google, okay? Or finding somebody that has done training in that side of it. There can be so many different reasons for anxiety, depression, your mental health, when you're looking at it from a psychologist's point of view. And like I said, and I've got to keep stressing that I am not trained in that side of it. Okay, I can only look at what's put in front of me, and like tonight, I haven't really got a script on where this is going. It's being led by spirit. So, I want to say, let's look at the psychology side of stuff. Trauma, stress, something in your life has caused it, whether it's in your DNA makeup side of it. Some people aren't genetically designed, I guess is probably the word for it, to have that stability in that side of it. There can be many, many reasons. And like I said, I'm no expert. When I look at the intuition side of it and I look at how we hold our energy is one thing. How we shut down, how we release things, how we acknowledge and let go of stuff, because we can hold on to stuff from our past, whether it's heartache, broken relationships, trauma. There's a whole list of stuff you could go on about that will sit in our energy field. Another one is the universe. Now, I want to focus on that one at the moment as well. I'm no real expert in the universe either. I sort of follow bits and pieces, and I follow Elizabeth Porre. She'll probably find her website or her Facebook page will get some more attention because it seems to when I mention this side of it. Check out her website and anybody else on the astrology side of stuff, because they look at the planets, they look at what is going on, what moon is sitting in what area and all that side of it, what's in retrograde, and that whole bigger picture of stuff with that side of it. Sorry, my dog's coming in now. She always seems to know when I go live and she wants attention. But at the moment, like I said before, the moon. Check out the moon outside. If you haven't been outside tonight, it is incredible. it's powerful. With what I understand tonight, without doing any real research into it, is a blood moon. They only happen every so often. I think we've got planets in retrograde. Now, off the top of my head, I cannot remember which ones they are. As well as we've got an eclipse tomorrow morning fairly early here in Australia or South Australia. Well, it's Australia, but it's supposed to be quite early. I think it starts from, somebody said to me today, it starts from something like 3 a.m. and goes through to about I can't remember if it was 5:45 or 6:45 that you can see it in its effects. The planet's energy plays on us, and those that are sensitive, that are intuitive, will feel it. Now, I follow Elizabeth because I like to see her, what she puts up most days, and she'll go, this is happening with the planets, this and that. You may feel this, okay? We get upgrades and downloads and stuff like that on the energetic level as well, programming that affects us. Everything that goes on in the planet and the energies will affect us on one level or another. Now, some of us are more affected than others. Some of us are a lot more sensitive and a lot more open than others, whether we choose to be or not. Now, I am finding this last I want to say 2 weeks, I can safely say 2 weeks, maybe a fraction longer, people are struggling. Things have been coming to a head. This last 2 or 3 days, things have really come to a head for a lot of people. Now, one of my clients today, without mentioning names, I asked her, knowing that she has battled with mental health issues for a long period of her life. I know she's very intuitive. I mentor her. So I know the ups and the downs that she experiences, okay? Now, I asked her, is this affecting you more so at the moment? Her mind was crazy busy. She thought, and one of my other clients today messaged me this morning and said, I'm losing it. There's something wrong with me. And I know that client is very intuitive as well. She has been a student of mine in the past as well. So what I'm seeing from my personal experience is those that do have mental health issues or struggle along that side of it, no matter what, it could be a vast range, whether it's bipolar, whatever sort of the diagnosis is. It, to me, seems that this energy is playing more so on them, okay? I woke up this morning really exhausted. My vibro had kicked in. I was having trouble with my eyes. I couldn't keep them open. I dragged my butt into the shower, and for some reason, water seemed to really make a difference today. Water seemed to really pick me up. But I feel hypersensitive today, but I became very driven, very energized. And in this energy at the moment, I feel very creative. I've had ideas the last 2 days bouncing off the walls, so to speak. And then one of my team members, she's the other way. She gets anxiety and depression, and she is in a bit of a low point at the moment, okay, for whatever reason. I don't want to go into that. That's her personal life. She was very much the opposite. So you've got me on a high, you've got her on that very low energy at that time, okay? And I guess she was the first person I noticed this morning, and then to have 2 other clients inbox me and go, what is going on with this, that I know do struggle with anxiety and depression, and then have a client come in and then ask her that question. It just seems to be a pattern there that I've noticed today as well. So I want to say, if you suffer with anxiety and depression or some sort of mental illness, and you're really feeling it at the moment, it's very possible it's not your energy, okay? It's very possible that you are being affected by the universal energy, the moon, and everything else that's going on, okay? I actually said to my client today, you need to be creative. You need to move that energy. You need to express yourself, Okay. My feeling is a lot of you that have anxiety, and I'd be actually interested for those that, sorry, Angela just says nurses say more women come into hospital in labour on the full moons. Yeah. And if you ask emergency departments, they'll say the same thing. They get more of that unsettled energies in. I don't want to say crazy energy, it's unsettled and stuff like that. Okay. So sorry, I've just lost my train of thought by the question that caught my eye. That's right. I was just asking for those that do suffer with anxiety and depression or some sort of mental illness, I'd like you to just say to me, yes, in the comments. If you are finding that you are really struggling at the moment, and especially these last 2 days, you may find it's been a longer period than that, with that side of it. But I want to say these last 2 days, things have been really heightened with that. Okay. By saying yes, that you do struggle with that, it's giving me an indication also, the pattern to my own. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that, honey. To my thought process. Thanks, Shirley. With that side of it, but also by acknowledging it, you're helping to let go of that energy. You're acknowledging it. Okay. And like I was saying a little bit earlier, and I think I probably got a bit sidetracked partway through that. So thank you, Sarah. Okay, Kim. Hi, thanks, Deb. What I was saying earlier is that when we hold on to stuff, it's like we don't let go of it. It sits in an energetic field, and then it becomes the physical, like I said, with health issues and the mental status sort of thing as well. And that can help us stop us from moving forward. But also something thanks, Kim, that I'm finding in the past with clients is a lot of old stuff is coming up. If we haven't let go of stuff in the past and we're still carrying it, the old stuff keeps coming back up. That thanks, Kelly, that we need to let go of. So you may find that there's things in your past that have happened to you. You may have felt that you've dealt with it and let it go to move on. Or you may, thanks, Leanne, I love the butterflies, hon. Butterflies is a symbol that I quite often see that reminds me of my grandmother. Okay. So you may have even thought that you've dealt with those issues, or you may know that it's holding you back and you can't move past that. If you felt that you've dealt with it, you may find there's still little bits there that lay right deep down on that soul level. Okay. I always say to people to put pen to paper, write stuff down, acknowledge it, because the more that you block stuff, the more that the anxiety is going to come through, the more the depression is going to come through, the more you hold on to it. It's like, all right, say you get a bill from the power company. You ignore it and you ignore it. You get your warning signs, you ignore it, your power gets cut off, doesn't it? If you're holding on to things that you need to let go of, it's the same thing. It's like it just keeps going and going and going until it gets your attention. It doesn't matter how much it wears you down, or how much you try to fight it. You fight it, it makes you tired. Okay. It just keeps wearing at you. And that's where we become so tired, we get exhausted. Those that suffer with anxiety and depression will find that they're probably tired a lot of the time. They don't feel that they've got the strength to keep going at times. You may find that everything is just really getting you down. You feel like the weight of the world's on your shoulders. And it probably is. But it's knowing what to hold on to, when to acknowledge it, and let it go. Okay. Now, I know it's easy for me to preach these words, and it's harder to do it, but I'm going to say, let's take a step back, take a deep breath with 2 feet firmly on the ground, and allow yourself to breathe. Because one thing I found when I had panic attacks in the past was I would breathe to the chest. Okay, let me take that away so you can see. I would find I'd be breathing here. All right, the short, shallow breaths rather than taking the deep breaths. Now, as I learned how to get on top of my panic attacks and to know the signs that come on, don't get me wrong, there's times now that I can be in situations that I do feel that panic still come on. But I know the signs from the beginning and I focus on my breath work. I slow my breath work down and I take the long, deep breaths. And for me, I'm fortunate that that happens. Okay. It's training my mindset, it's taking my head away from that point that put me into the panic to start with. And it helps me to move things in that way and get on top of it. In doing that over the years, I've learned how to control it. Okay. Like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm far from perfect. And these, what I'm saying to you may not even work for you, but this is just what worked for me. Okay. Sorry, your comment just caught my eye. So uncanny for you to do this tonight. I have been letting go and trying to live in the moment. Well done, honey. I have noticed huge changes in the last week. Well done. That is really good, and keep up the good work, and let me just go back to that for a second as well. Guys, this moon tonight, if you can get out in it, sorry, my niece is on there as well. Yeah, I understand that too, hun. She just says, fortunately, there is too much stigma regarding mental health to let it go. Mental health's always going to be there. It's the level of maintaining it. Okay. It's finding what works for you. It's acknowledging the high points. It's acknowledging the low points. I don't want to say shut it out by far. Okay. It's important. And I haven't been to the extent that I've had to go to counsellors or down that track. I'm sorry. I've sat through counselling with my own child. Every fortnight I spend a counselling session with her, and she has one a week to herself. So I sort of, and my daughter always says, Mum's always positive. Mum says, look at the positive side of it. Okay. And I'm going to touch about the positives and the negatives shortly. And I'm also going to say that I believe everything happens for a reason. Okay. We chose this journey. All right. We've got to experience these things for a reason. It's how we deal with it, and how we come out a stronger person for it, and what we do with that side of it as well. All right. So I'll go back to that shortly. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but different comments are sort of catching my eye as well with that. So with this moon, it's a very powerful one tonight. It's very strong. Go outside if you can get the chance to. And I know here in the Adelaide Hills, the sky's quite clear. Well, it was an hour ago when I was out there. And take a deep breath. If you can do it in the bare feet, if the ground's not too cold, feel yourself connect with Mother Earth. Look at the moon and just breathe. Let go of everything. Clear the mind and just feel the beautiful power of the moon. Okay. I raced outside before to go shopping, and it just caught my attention. I didn't mean it to. It was like the moon was talking to me. Okay. Just go and feel the energy off of the moon, because it is very heightened tonight with that side of stuff. And just acknowledge where you are at, what you've been going through. Let it go. Just release it to the moon, okay? And I know it's hard to let go of things sometimes, but give gratitude for everything that's happening. I always say give gratitude regularly. Take a moment, look at what you've been through, whether it was yesterday, last week or something. But if you do that regularly, you will find that that will help move the energy side of stuff, okay? I'm looking at all this, I guess, and that's probably a good way to put it, is I am looking at the mental health side of stuff. Sorry, my kid's cat's walking around in the background. He loves to see it, wrong side, under the crystal, I get my fingers mixed up, cupboard. The grey cupboard there is full of crystals, and he loves to sleep under there. He has been unwell a little bit lately, so I think it's the healing of the crystals that's sort of drawing him to very much that. But I always say take time, whether it's once a week, once a month, whatever works for you, and just reflect for a little while. Acknowledge how far you've come, let it go and give gratitude for it. Look at the lessons that come with that side of stuff as well, because that can move a lot of energy at the same time. And I'm looking at mental health from the energy level side of it. Okay. That can also work well with the medical side hand in hand. I don't want to say people stop taking medication or anything like that. I'm a believer in that in the medication is there to help in the right situations, and a doctor or a medical professional is the one to make that decision alongside of you with that. Okay. Angela, I love the hands hunting with Mother Earth. Yeah. And, that can do so much. Felicity's just saying the moon is so beautiful. It is, honey. Tonight, there's nights, moons that I can't be out in the moonlight because it becomes overwhelming for me. All right. And it has for a few years. But the energy tonight just really spoke to me. And I couldn't help than to just smile. When I just took that moment, I stopped, I breathed, and I reflected and let go and just enjoy that moment. All right. I don't know. I guess it's hard to put words to it. And I guess for me, it was very uplifting in that side of it. But I just knew I was in the right place and I'm where I need to be at that time. Okay. And I just felt confident in the journey that I'm traveling is where I need to be at the same time. Okay. So I want to say take that moment if you can before it gets too late and too cold, and just sit for 5 minutes. Rug up and if you're here in Australia, it's pretty cold. Rug up and sit in that energy and just enjoy it and feel the way that you feel after doing that. Because I could just about say if you really let go and be in that moment and connect with that energy of the moon, you're going to find that it's got an effect on you, whether it's an emotional effect, a good effect, or whatever. For me, it was quite uplifting at the same time. Some of you that are struggling at the moment, you may find that it becomes emotional, but those emotions need to be let go of. They need to be moved. So whatever it is that you experience is needed. Mother Earth knows what you need. All right, and I swear they know better, or she knows better than what we do at times, just like Spirit does. Okay, so I want to say take that time, do the breath work, get into the habit of breathing regularly to raise your vibrations in that side of it as well. Okay, there's so many tools out there that we can try. Just because like I said earlier, for those that have just joined in, just because it worked for me doesn't mean it's always going to be right for everybody else. It's finding a balance and finding out what's right for you. And I know when it comes to mental health, for those that do suffer, you've got people around you putting pressure on you. You've got people that don't understand. Okay. I always say you never understand another person's pain, whatever it is that they're going through, unless you've walked a million miles in their shoes. Okay. We're all individual. There's no right or wrong. And I just say it's how we move forward from this. Okay. Sometimes, yes, we need to kick up the bum to change our thought process or to pull us out of that moment. All right. And I'm not saying block those down days. I'm saying acknowledge them. Okay. You need to feel those emotions for a reason. There's not, like I said before, everything happens for a reason. All right. If we didn't feel, I guess we wouldn't be human. We wouldn't be alive. Okay. So look at why you need to feel the way you are. All right. And I know it can be hard. I know it's exhausting. And I know it can, and for me, it's heartbreaking watch other people go through it as well. Okay. Because sometimes we just feel useless, that we can't do anything. And I know as a parent dealing with a child with anxiety, It's hard at times because I've got people go around me going, she needs to do this. Oh, this is bullshit. She needs a good kick up the arse. She needs to be pulled in line, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has an opinion on all this sort of stuff. Okay. I don't judge anybody for the way they are. I pride myself in not making judgments. I try very hard not to judge people. Okay. I like to look at the bigger picture of why people are the way they are, because quite often it comes through what we know, it's conditioning. There's a whole lot of things. There could be a range of problems. And like I said before, unless you've walked in that person's shoes, you have no idea. Okay. I try as a parent to find the best balance I can. I like to think I know when to push my child and I know when to back off at the same time. And I get people's opinions, and those that do suffer with mental health, I'm sure, have had people tell you, snap out of it. Pick yourself up and move forward. Okay? It's not always that easy. So for me, I found acknowledging, and I find it now it helps, acknowledging things as they come up. If I'm having a crap day, I acknowledge it. I try not to wallow in it. I will try to look at doing some reflection on it, whether it's putting pen to paper and writing and acknowledging it that way to release it. Or I may turn to meditation at times as well, where I try to still my mind. Because I guess a lot of the time with the anxiety and the depression, you think about it, you're very much in your own head. All right. We're bad. I know myself. I'm really bad at overthinking things at times. And usually it's a million things going on at once in my head. But it could be a bit scary at times if you were to hear my thoughts. But I quite often say to my children and my husband when they're making a lot of noise, I have a spirit going blah, 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 blah in my ear. I have my children going blah, 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 blah. Then I have my husband going blah, blah, blah. And it's all at once and it can be very overwhelming. All right. So it's kind of like I need to take a step back when it gets like that. I need to go back to my basics and focus on my breathing and then sort of build up from there. Okay. So I want to say, if you take anything out of this, I want to say take the time to work out what works for you. Don't put pressure on yourself for being on a low or a high or whatever, however you look at it. Give yourself the credit, all right? Because a lot of us put so much more pressure on ourselves. Look at the triggers as well, because sometimes there's triggers there that do it. And quite often I find in my readings with people that there is triggers that creates that stress, whether we realize it or not, okay? Even if it means admitting to yourself that obviously I needed to go through this for a reason. Okay, look at the reason, look at the lesson in it as well. Okay, but know also that there is a very fine line between what is our energy and what is the energy of others around us and the energy of spirit. Okay, I quite often say to my students and a lot of my clients that get that anxiety, I want you to go with your first thoughts. Okay. And you can do this too when I ask the question. Think about take the first thing that pops in your head without thinking. Okay. Because once your mind comes into it, and those that are very much thinkers will find that they will try to find reason in their answer. So I want to know what I'm going to start, and you can put yes or no up in the comments and let me know what you're thinking or what you feel. What I want to ask you to first up, if you would like to do that with the comments, is this you? Okay. Hey, Jess. This feeling that you've got, is this you? Okay. I want to say, is it normal? Because it's not natural to have anxiety and depression. Okay. I want to know, do you think this is yours? Okay. I know there's a bit of a delay on the comments tonight as well. Angela says, please help my sister Felicity answered no with a sad face. Okay, Jess says she's overthinking all the time, honey. Okay. Kelly says yes, it is her. Okay, so that I've got one saying no, this isn't her, which is great because she's knowing that this isn't normally her. Okay. Kelly, okay. I'm sorry, Kim, I never caught part of your comment then. I'll go back and, like I said, after the show or over the weekend, I will work through the comments. Kelly, I want to ask you another question, hun. Kelly Morris. Sorry, hun, if I said that wrong. I want to say, think back when you were at your happiest point. Think back at that time when you didn't have your anxiety or your depression and compare that to now. Okay. So, yes, I understand that, some people suffer with anxiety and depression for years on end. I'm going to say go back to your last point when you remember not having it and look at the difference between you and now. Okay. Megan, I do this is me because I'm feeling positive and just tired, which I think is external. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so Simon, I feel this is darkness nearly every day. Okay, Simon, what's bringing on the darkness? Why do you feel that way? Okay. And I also want to say, look at your mind state. Are you in a negative mind state or are you in a positive one? Okay, so Kelly, yours has come on at the age of 7. All right. So are you around negative people or are you surrounded with positive people? Okay. I want to say, okay, I'm going to give you, how am I going to do this? Okay, sorry, so Spirit's just giving me instructions. Like I said, this is all not planned out. It's just led by Spirit. I want to say, give your hands a shake. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to feel your own energy. Bring your hands apart. For me, obviously, I need to go quite wide with mine because I feel my energy very quickly. So I want to say, put your arms out, maybe straight out to the side, and gradually bring your hands in. Hey, Maddie. Into when you start, I'm already feeling it, but because the camera's that way, the camera is always the opposite way to where I go. Bring your hands in until you get that resistant energy and you feel like you can't go any further. You may feel tingling or pressure in the palms of your hands or even heat sometimes, okay? When you come in, you're going to find that you get to a point where you get that bouncy sort of energy, okay? 99% of my students can feel that when we do that exercise in class. That is your energy. Okay. Now you can do that with somebody else. I quite often get my students to put their hands up, step back from another person, and gradually walk forward until they get that. I'm getting it off of the computer screen, even there, that pressure on their hands. That's feeling the energy of somebody else. Okay. If you get the chance to do it, try doing it. All right. Because that will help you understand the difference between your energy and where your energy sits and the energy of other people. Okay. I just want to read Simon's comment because I know I asked him a question. I find it hard to shake off the feelings from those who helped bringing me into the state of mind. There are heaps of positives in my life, but not a day goes by some negative gets in. Okay. So, Simon, do you acknowledge that negative as it comes up? Or do you sort of, what's the word I want? Do you sort of hover on that negative? Do you get stuck on that energy? Kelly, I surround by positive always. Oh, well, that is amazing energy. Good, hun, you can feel it. Okay. So you can imagine you can feel your energy. You have people around you that you can feel their energy. Now, people, for one reason or another, without making a whole lesson in itself, because I know I only have another, 10 minutes, push their energy onto others. Okay. So if I was to push my energy onto you and I'm in the negative mind state, you're going to feel my negative energy, which is going to weigh you down. Okay. If we don't protect our energy, which I could often say to my students, see a bubble around you to protect it. You try to shake it off. Good. All right. And even if it literally means shaking it off. Okay. Simon, I would also say, and for those that are quite intuitive and know it, see yourself in a bubble or something that you relate to that protects you. So it's a full shield of some sort that's right around you. And that's where I think a bubble is good, because you're inside of the bubble. That's your energetic protection zone. Okay. That's your shield. When you have somebody that's around you that is very negative, they quite often are very down on themselves. They're exhausted. They need to pull on energy to pick themselves up. So they're going to be drawn to people, especially that are quite intuitive and are sensitive, because I think we're easier targets to pull on our energy is probably one way of putting it. They will pull your energy and suck you dry. So you may find being around people, you are very exhausted and very tired very quickly. Okay. I'm sorry, hon, I'm not answering questions tonight. I'm talking about mental health. This session is just dedicated to that and trying to help give people some tools to work with. Okay. So when you've got your protection in place, they push their negative onto you and try to pull on your energy. It will hit your boundary or your protection. Okay. I quite often say to people, if you don't like what people are pushing onto you, in your mind, see a mirror in front of you between yourself and them, and see that mirror facing them. So when they push their energy, hitting the mic. When they push their energy onto you, it hits that mirror and it reflects back at them. So they get a dose of their own medicine. Okay. You can do that as many times as you want. You can do your protection as many times as you want. And you may find as you're going through energy changes, the universe is changing energetic wise, that you may need to strengthen or find something else that very much protects you better on a higher level. With the level that I work with constantly, I use a thick perspex cylinder and I see it from the universe. And I see it go down into Mother Earth, and my walls are usually about an inch thick. When I'm dealing with negative people or people that are down for one reason or another, I can see my walls go out to about 4 inches thick, so nothing can get through that. Okay. I want to suggest to people that use the white light, the fluffy white, God, I'm knocking things now, the white fluffy light, it's transparent, it's thin. Okay, the white light is beautiful. It's earthy, it's all those spiritual, it's all those things. But it's like fog. You can drive through it without making a dent on it. Hi, Tina. So I want to say, come up with something that you resonate with and you do your protection and see how that helps your mind state. If you find that's helping you, you will notice that you're taking on the energy of those other people around you. Okay. Then you've got the issue of overthinking. I would say a majority of people take on or overthink what others are thinking about them or their feelings or their thoughts. All right. I want to say a friend of mine quite often reminds me, and she wrote it up in our lunchroom when I had the Wellbeing Centre, and she said, it's not your monkey, it's theirs. So I want to say, if they are judging you for the way you are, whether you look, your weight, your attitude, no matter what it is, that is their problem. All right. It's not your business. They may think that about you, but you don't have to choose to take it on. So I want to say, choose what you take on and choose what you let go of. Okay. Things like that add to your anxiety. It brings in the panic, it brings in the depression, and that side of it. I'm sure you've all got big hearts. You're all incredible in your own way, as everybody is. None of us are perfect, but it's finding a way to have a balance. And yes, with balance, you're still going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs, but it's important to acknowledge that. Like I said, we're all human. We need to feel. Okay. Look at why you need to feel that. Look at why you react in the way you do to whatever depth that you go into in your anxiety and your depression. Okay. Mental health is a serious thing. I believe at some stage in our life, we all have experienced one level of mental illness in one way or another. It's how we pick ourselves up from it. It's how we learn from it, is my beliefs, and it's how we move forward. We've chosen this journey when we come onto earth, okay? We have chosen to have these struggles. You can't tell me I could give you, not that I've got it, but I could give you $1 million, no stress, nothing to worry about in your life, that you're not going to have something that will set off anxiety or your depression at some stage, something for you to worry about. Life's never that easy, okay? It's how we grow. It's how we become us, all right? And I find people that have suffered or do have mental health issues have incredible, amazing hearts. They have gorgeous souls. Fair enough, they overthink and they've got their battles. But if you can find a balance that works for you in one way or another, you will be able to move forward. And that's what it's about. Okay. So I want to say, I send love and healing to those that need it. I want to say, know that you're not alone. And please, please know that you've only got to reach out and ask for help, no matter the struggle. Okay. Whether it's a friend or it's through Beyond Blue, it's Lifeline, whatever. No, you're never alone. Okay. And you may find you get help from the strangest places. It could be people that you don't know. It could be people in the medical profession. Those people are put in front of you for a reason. Look at what they bring into your life. Okay. I'm sick and tired of hearing people try to sweep mental health under the carpet. And like I said right at the beginning, I'm not trained in any way in this side of it. I can only give you the guidance that I get from spirit and from my own experiences as somebody that grew up with panic attacks at times in a part of my life, somebody that has been there to help others where I can, whether it's right or wrong, and as a parent that has a child with anxiety. We're all different. We all cope, and our coping mechanisms are what they are. So some are better at coping, some aren't. But those, you may have strengths in other ways that shine through. It's important to acknowledge that as well. And know you're only human. Okay, like I said earlier in the piece, that we need to feel, all right? Because if we weren't, we wouldn't be alive in that side of it. We would just be a numb shell. And that's not much of a lifestyle in that side of it, because you're all pretty amazing. You've all got your strengths. We've all got our weaknesses. And we put that impact, we make an impact on life. We leave our mark no matter what we do. Okay. I also want to say, start your day off with a smile. If it means putting positive affirmations or putting up something saying, I am amazing on the mirror, so that's the first thing you look at as a reminder, do it. Okay. I want to say, walk out the front door, and as you walk past somebody, give them a smile. It's going to make you feel better about yourself, but it's likely to make their day as well, or just to change their mindset as well. Try to acknowledge the negatives when they come up, and try to replace that negative with a positive, because we can choose to change our mindset. And yes, it can take practice. Yes, it can be hard. It's not always going to be easy. But the more we can change our mind and our thinking into the positives, you will find that will push that negative energy out. Energy is a huge thing. And you will find it affects us in more ways than none. Okay, than others, sort of thing, but or more ways than you realize. Okay, look at our children these days. They are quite Sensitive. They are creative, and people with it, that are intuitive are very creative, whether it's telling stories, it's writing, it's painting, it's craft, it's the ability to design a beautiful room or anything like that. Find a way that you can. Night, Tara, I'm about to finish up too, hum. Thank you for joining in. I appreciate your input and for listening as well. But find a way to express yourself, and whether it's through words, it's writing, it's arts, it's whatever, expression will help move that energy as well. All right. I could do a whole nother hour on children and how to work with those as well. But if you've got a child that is intuitive, keep their communications open. Let them know that what they feel is normal, that they are in a safe place. I know with my child with anxiety, I'm not always the right person to help her because the walls go up. All right. So, for me, it's looking at others, the counsellors, talking to the school and different stuff like that as well. Okay. All right, guys, I could still go on for another hour. I know we're out of time and you probably have been cut off with comments side of it, possibly. But I would seriously like to thank you for listening in. For those that have shared stuff with us, thank you so much for feeling safe enough to be able to share. Know that, like I said, know that you're loved, know that you're not alone. And, I send love and healing out to anybody that needs it and would like to accept it. No, there's no right or wrong. Like I said, I can't stress enough, I can only go by my own experiences, and what works for me doesn't mean it always works for others. Okay. I don't want to feel like, I'm hoping that you haven't felt like I've dictated or you've taken offense or anything to what I've said, because you're welcome, Megan. Thank you, Kim. Thanks, Simon. Because there's no right or wrong. It's just how we work with it. And obviously, we've got to go through this stuff for a reason. But I do want to just stress that take on board at the moment what the universe is doing. Okay, because this energy is really huge and it does have a big effect on us. Okay, so don't try to fight it, just go with the flow. In the next, I would say 3 or 4 days, it should really start. Well, it should start settling now after tonight, but it should really start to move as well, and things should be pretty amazing if you allow it to be. Just go with the flow. All right, guys, I'm going to leave that with you. And please, if you take anything from it, know that you're not alone and that there is support out there. You just need to ask. All right. I wish you all the very best, and I hope you can find a balance and to move forward. Do check out that amazing moon because it is incredible. All right, guys, take note. You're in my thoughts and enjoy your weekend. Bye.